beautiful soul. Welcome to my channel. Happy 2024 to you whenever you are listening to this. My name is Joanna. If this is your first time joining me, thank you so much for being here. I do hope you stay. Truly, my intention is to help you realize your fullest potential. So anything that I channel in terms of the energies I bring in is always with the utmost intention. What is for the highest good of all? What is for the greatest good? So if you are into this sort of thing, I hope you stay. I hope this information helps you. If you are returning, thank you so much for being here, for coming back. Without you, there will be no need for me to channel this material. And I love what I do. When I channel, there's a part of me that feels like I'm home. Okay? In fact, that's where home is, wherever that is. But that's a whole different topic. In this video, we're going to talk about things I normally don't talk about because it's just not really my thing. But I thought, hey, why don't we try it? Why don't I ask Spirit or my team to show me what might be going on in terms of predictions. I don't like the word predictions because it means things are set in stone, where in fact most things are not set in stone, which means we have free will. Is how we direct this free will that then we will experience corresponding vibrations. So with that said, I hope you enjoy what you hear. Keep in mind that I, as Joanna, have no idea if this is true or not. I am literally just channeling what's being shown to me. And I have no way of validating it yet because it hasn't happened yet. So I am, much like you, watching this information coming through me and thinking, I wonder if this is true. I don't know. So take it with a grain of salt. Oh, by the way, if you are... the first portion will be a general message for different sectors of our human life. And then I will give you a sneak peek to the 12 Zodiac signs that I recorded for the last 3 months. I've been recording it for the last 3 months. And they will be available to you for purchase at a minimum 50% discount. The code is down below. All you have to do is click on the link below, punch in the promo code to get your 2024 annual survival guides at least 50% off. And I will have that promo going on for a few days. So let's see what's going on. First and foremost, as you already know, Earth is going through a massive transformation, which means things are being transformed. And we are all, every single one of us, going through transformation as well. In other words, the whole world is transforming. What does it mean to transform? To literally shift or change form, which is very much part of our human experience. We are in the experience of form. Because outside of that experience, we are all light. Which also means magnetic beings, which also means we magnetize things to ourselves, and we do it all the time. And what we magnetize to ourselves go hand in hand with what we believe. So if we are magnetizing things to ourselves that we do not like, we must look at what we believe. And what we believe creates this inner construct. It's our foundation, if you will. It allows us to feel solid within who we think we are. And these foundations are now beginning to crumble. Why are they crumbling right now? Because the foundations are not strong enough to withstand what's coming next. In other words, if we are desiring to experience a powerful world where we are empowered, we have to deal with the weaknesses, quote unquote, that we hold within ourselves that make us believe we are disempowered. We cannot possibly be disempowered Power is who we are. We are power. Most humans do not fully embody their own power. Why? I heard the words, it's not allowed. What do you mean, it's not allowed? Who is making that choice for me? And by asking that question, we begin to realize that we are letting others choose how we embody or not embody our own power. In other words, we are making the outside responsible for our empowerment. We are giving power away. Now, why would we want to do that? It's what we are taught. It's what was programmed within our DNA. Because it served a certain version of an experience, one that is based in reality of lack. But you only experience lack when you are embodying the human. Because outside of your humanness, you know no lack, because there is no lack. Lack is a human construct. Lack creates limitations. So if we are rooted in the idea of lack, we are rooted in the idea of limitations. And what this simply means is that we identify ourselves as the limitations that we think we are. But we are not our limitations. We are so much more than that. But the mind is very powerful. What the mind believes, the mind will create. So if we are under the impression that there is lack and we are limited, then our experiences will be ones of lack and limitations. And humanity is asking the question, is this what we want? Because it is what we have. Is what we have is what we want. Perhaps we want a different future. Perhaps we want a different outcome. But outcome is relative to what's on the inside as far as one's belief system. So in order to experience a more profound outcome, we have to deal with our belief systems. And this is what humanity is going through right now. Belief systems are being exposed. By exposing belief systems, we begin to see its limitations. And by beginning to see its limitations, we begin to ask a very profound question. Is that all there is? Or is there, in fact, something so much more? And we are beginning to realize that there is so much more beyond the limitations we identify with. And we begin to choose differently. Choice is an option. Most humans are not choosing, not consciously anyways. Most humans believe it's chosen for them. And in fact, that's what they believe, that's what they experience. Someone else chooses for them. Is that what we want? Do we want others to choose for us? If so, why? What's in it for you in this experience? Because when we let others choose for us, we effectively have no choices. They're either given to us or taken away from us. That's the biggest irony, because choice lives inside of you, not outside. So if we're experiencing a certain outcome that we are not happy with, it is because on some level we as humanity have chosen to have that experience. No, it wasn't a conscious choice, but it is choice nonetheless. So humanity is exposing its unconscious choices. Those of you who are part of this humanity, who are beginning to wake up, are realizing, and some of you for the very first time in your life, that you have more choices than you could possibly think or believe. There is an infinite possibility and number of choices. In fact, choices exist everywhere at all times. We're just not always able to see it. And the reason why we're not able to see it is because we cannot perceive it from our current stance. So, as humanity, we are shifting the position from which we look. In other words, we are in a process of shifting our perspective. And our perspectives defined what we experience, or they define what we experience. So if our perspectives define our experiences, then that simply means that by changing our perspective, we change our experience, or our experiences change. So then we have to go back to the limitations and ask ourselves, how am I limiting myself by seeing things only from this current perspective? And is this serving me or the highest good? What is the highest good of all? I just heard everyone just wants to be loved. It's a fuel. All you have to do is think about the idea of not being loved. It's difficult, isn't it? The biggest irony is that humanity is loved all the time. Oftentimes, humanity doesn't feel loved. Why? It's because humanity has separated itself from that love. You can call it God and consciousness. Humanity has separated itself from its own godliness, from its own divinity. And we are beginning to wake up to this divinity. We are beginning to realize that we are divine beings having a human experience. And as hard as it is sometimes, it is okay. It's not the end of this road. In other words, there is life beyond that which we see as death. More and more people are beginning to wake up to the idea that we live beyond the death's door. In other words, there's nothing to be afraid of. If humanity decided to be less afraid, we humans would experience life from the perspective of less fear. And what's on the opposite side of fear? Love. Consequently, by releasing fear, we automatically begin to vibrate more in love. When we understand this about ourselves, we begin to form a different concept within our own understanding. And remember, concepts are like frameworks for your human body, to your human experience. So when we begin to deconstruct our old former foundations that are built on weakness and scarcity and fear, and we begin to realize that we are so much more than the scarcity and weakness and fear, then we automatically begin to let it go, because we realize that is not the only reality. In fact, there is more. There is infinite more. We are just not seeing that from our current perspective. So we could look at humanity and say, we could use this example. Humanity is changing its glasses. Things have become blurry. We're not seeing straight. We're not seeing clearly. We may even get confused in terms of what are we seeing. And the universe is saying, hey, here, try this. Try on a different lens and see how you see things, and then see if you like it. By trying on new lenses, we mean simply trying on new perspectives. And oftentimes we change perspectives when we have something challenging to overcome. Oftentimes, the very thing we need to overcome a challenge is through change of perspective. Change of perspective can and is often very, very healing. Our perspectives help us heal. So if we are unwell, we need to change our perspective. Why are we experiencing unwellness when there is wellness available all the time? My Joanna human brain is trying to grasp this, but I'm just going to keep channeling. Okay? So there are a few areas that I wanted to focus on in terms of 3D world. What can we expect? And then I was on a run the other day. They were starting to show some things that I thought, okay, well, that's interesting. And what I was seeing is probables. And what I was seeing is probable outcomes. But it's like I was seeing more towards the farther future, but whatever we are building for in terms of further down the road, we have to start somewhere. It's like we are starting to pave the way towards the changes that I was seeing. So we may not necessarily see these changes that I'm going to talk about in our life, but it's like we are seeding, we are creating, we're in a process of creating new forms and new structures so that this other beautiful experience can be built upon, which means humanity's construct has to change. We are in the space of changing our construct, which is also, construct is about stability. So this is going to affect how we humans feel in terms of our own stability. This is ultimately bringing us to a much greater stability as a human race. But right now we're going through a bit of a chaos. Okay. So I asked them to show me a few areas. The typical ones. Financial. Okay. When I asked for this information, right away I received an image that told me the words financial collapse. So it's likely that we will experience some financial collapses or the way money is being handled, especially corporate structures. And I feel like things like banks will be a thing of the past. So we might see unraveling the idea of banks. Perhaps there's going to be some corruption that will be exposed in terms of the banking system. I don't know. There is some quote unquote weaknesses in our banking system. Why do I say weaknesses? Because it has to do with who has a hold on what. In other words, if we put money in a financial institution, then somebody else is in charge of our money. Someone else is in control of our money. And we blindly accept this authority as something we trust. We don't even think about it. And I feel like there's going to be some corruption that will come about, that people are going to start not trusting in financial institutions as much. So does that mean that the entire banking system will collapse. No, I don't feel that's the case. I feel like we're going to start seeing things unravel, and I specifically hear the words corrupt. Okay. I was going to say money will be soon not a thing, but that's already happening. In fact, what I see is chips being inserted into underneath people's skins that has all the financial information. I've heard this before, but I feel like this is getting closer than we think. I actually want to say over the next 2 to 3 years, there will be, I want to say, opportunity to have this experience where something is being injected under your skin and has all your financial information, security. Again, I heard about this before, but I feel like it's real. It's the next 3 years, it's going to be realized. So we may not have physical money, but we still carry this information. But who controls the information? Where does the information go? And I feel like that is what we are questioning. Who controls all that information? Okay? Because if something controls all our information, then are we really the ones in control? I don't know. I would say probably not. So if somebody is in control of our information and that somebody has a corrupt mind, as an example, then they can use their corruptive way to manipulate the information they have for their own gains. And I feel like this sort of structure is beginning to resurface. What I'm hearing is, can we trust them? Can we trust them? Now, on the flip side of things, I don't think they're saying you should not trust anybody, because that isn't good either. It's like humanity is asking the question, who do we trust now? Who do we trust? And not trusting is not a great thing. Because when you don't trust, you don't allow yourself to feel vulnerable. You know, when we don't trust, we clam up, right? No, we don't want to be clammed up. We want to be open. So there's some issues with trust when it comes to banking system that I feel is going to be coming up. And again, idea of corruption, okay? By 2026, they're putting like a hard stop in there. This information, what I'm saying, is going to make absolute sense. So I hope so. Okay. Now, the other thing about this financial system is that it's going to expose certain things, but at the end of the day, it's going to help humanity create new systems in terms of new financial systems. Because you want to trust something or somebody who holds your money, and then it grows, and and then it grows your money, and you can trust whoever that is. It's like there's going to be a new way of handling money, but it's not money, it's information, because money will be a thing of the past. I don't see physical money for too long. I mean, that's already happening. I don't use money. Okay, I use my phone. My phone is connected to something. They have that information. I'm not trying to say, oh my God, be careful, don't trust anybody. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is there is some corruption that's being exposed. Okay? And I hear like somebody's head is on a chopping block. I don't know quite what it means, but I feel like somebody's going to pay for it. Somebody's going to pay for this quote unquote corruption. Pay, no pun intended. But like I said, it's going to give us an opportunity as humanity to create a new banking system where it feels like it's collective. It's not separated by different countries. So I don't quite know what it means, but it's less, there's less separation. It's like there's less corporation and more, it feels like it's less mechanical. I don't know how to describe it. It feels, can you give me a different example, please? We will feel financially much more solid. We will establish a system where we will trust ultimately with our finances and our numbers. And so there is a level of trust that is broken or will be broken, and then it has to be rebuilt again. So I feel like it's kind of where we're going when it comes to crashes. Okay, are there any financial crashes? I feel like we may see some banks collapse, like banks, like individual banks, like perhaps like if you're in Canada, Bank of Montreal, perhaps, where it exists no longer. There seems to be fewer bank institution existing, and many are collapsing. Okay. But as far as a sector, financial sector falling, I don't see it heavily impacting our financial. Like I don't see. I'm asking, should we be afraid for our money? And I even hate using that word, afraid. I don't feel it's going to get to that point, but it's kind of sort of on the border. It's on the border. We might hear of people pulling out money and because they don't trust financial institutions, but I don't feel it's going to be. So there's a collapse happening, but I don't feel like it's all of a sudden everything is going to collapse all at once. It's going to be a gradual process, and I believe that we're going to start seeing it 2024, 25, 26. Okay? So that's about the financial sector. Health sector. They showed me an almost like a little impulse device, like a chip, electronic chip almost, being inserted in people's bodies, and this electronic device sends a certain frequency to the body, and the best way that I can describe it is this frequency helps to I want to say the word heal. This eases, it helps to, but it's through frequency and energy, not so much a pill. Again, that makes sense to me because we already understand how frequency affects the physical body. Sound, it does so many things, but I feel like this is going to be implemented in our medicine. So I feel like we'll be moving more and more into almost like computerized medicine is what I want to say. So there will be something inserted in you. It doesn't look very big. It's just underneath the skin, and it sends signals. And these signals, it's like these signals deal with the quote unquote dis-ease parts. I also feel like I want to say surgeries will be the thing of the past. This is not going to be eliminated in 2024, obviously, but I feel like what we're going to be seeing is more and more, because technology is on the rise, especially when it comes to medicine and weaponry, unfortunately. But what they're showing me is that there's going to be an introduction of different type of ways of doing surgery where it's going to be more like laser surgery. Now, lasers are already used, but they're being used also with opening the body. I feel like at some point something is going to be introduced where the physical opening of the body won't be necessary. That tells me that somehow we must have a 3D view of what's going on in the body. So it'll be interesting to see what the innovation is as far as health and how we are taking care of our bodies. They're saying the whole idea of using scalpel on the body is very barbaric. I feel like we have the technology. If we don't yet, I feel we're going to have it very, very soon, where Scalpels and knives will not be necessary. Maybe there'll be like a tiny, tiny incision to put certain instruments in, but there will be no need of completely exposing the body. So that's pretty cool. Is there something else? Yes. I'm specifically seeing the idea of mushroom. No, so that symbolically means many things to me, but one of the most important things it means is that there is an uprise in how many people use plant medicine versus traditional allopathic medicine. I am not saying that it's not useful. I absolutely believe that medicine, drugs are necessary, especially when it comes to emergencies and things like that. I'm talking about in terms of longevity, what we, the type of pills we take every day in order to function. And I feel like many more people are choosing to no longer rely on the traditional quote unquote drugs and move more towards plant medicine. And it feels to me like that is a frontier on its own. Like the whole movement of plant medicine is really, really strong. You're going to be seeing a lot more people growing organic food and growing their own herbs and spices. I mean, I think we're seeing that anyway. In fact, what I was seeing, jumping a little bit back and forth, is that I was seeing a whole bunch of communities, smaller communities everywhere. This is eventually where we're heading. There's a whole bunch of communities everywhere. And even though these different communities were unique, all the other communities got along with everybody. So I don't think we're going to see that in 2024, but I feel we're going to start to see things like that being implemented, where we begin to create smaller and smaller communities where scarcity is a thing of the past. We are like self-reliant, and there's a fair exchange. The word fair was given to me several times, fair exchange. So what this is telling me is that we are moving more towards community-like living, where where there's a lot more fairness. So perhaps maybe rather than putting our money and trust in some massive corporation, we bring it more to our communities. We are living more community-based. Now, it's interesting because when I saw all of that, I saw all these different communities, and they were all unique. They were all different, but unique. But what I got about that is, even though each community was unique, no one identified themselves as better or bigger or less than. It's these communities saw each other's value, and there was no comparison, and there was no rivalry. I guess I could use the word acceptance. Well, when I'm recording this at the end of 2023, there's a lot of unacceptance happening right now, and people are actually fighting each other rather than, living in community in more cohesive way. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. You will also start to see more and more people moving out of bigger cities and trying to establish themselves even with just a little bit of land. And again, the land becomes very important when we want to grow things. So, so as I say this, I'm being reminded of another thing that I was shown in regards to food. And this I wasn't too thrilled when I was seeing this, because what I was seeing is food shortage. But the way it was shown to me was like, okay, well, that's weird, because on one hand, there was this massive amounts of food, but then we are told that there is a food shortage. And I'm going, well, from what I can see, there's a lot of food. Like, why are we being told that there is food shortage? And here's the weirdest thing. All that food that I was seeing, all the plenty food, it was toxic. But here's the thing. It wasn't that it was toxic. It was made to be toxic. In other words, it could not be used. And because it could not be used, it created the scarcity around food. But it's not because there actually is scarcity. It's because someone or many someones created this scarcity. And what does when there is shortage of food, what happens? Generally speaking, chaos. So we might be seeing some food shortages around the planet. And I'm not saying that every single food shortage will be derailed by some energy that wants to create scarcity, but it was shown to me for a reason. Okay? Again, remember, we are leaning more towards seeing who can we trust. And if we find out at some point that there actually was no food scarcity at all, it was just created that way in order to create chaos and more scarcity, then we're going to go, okay, wait a second. What's wrong with this picture? Why is this happening? And things get exposed. So it seems there's a lot of things that are being disposed right now. This whole idea about food and shortage, but it's not shortage. It's the illusion of shortage, but there is something there. We might experience shortage of water, but I feel the shortage of water is more legitimate. That's real. The shortage of food, it feels to be a little bit manipulated. Again, I'm not into theories. I don't even do these predictions, but it makes sense to me on many levels. I mean, I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. So you might want to pack up some cans, maybe have some dry food. I don't foresee us going without food, but there might be like food scares for 2 weeks or something like that. And last time we had a situation going on, the pandemic, people ran to get toilet papers of all things. Go figure. So I wouldn't say go get toilet paper. I would just say go get some food. Weather. This was interesting. With weather, what I was shown is that parts of the world, there will be anomalies in terms of weather. So the parts of the world that normally get really hot or have hot weather, warm weather, are going to experience some unusual cold weather. Unusual cold. So if in Africa, for example, the regular temperature every day is 35 degrees, they may experience 24, which to someone who lives in northeast or northwest, 24 degrees is like a beautiful summer day. But if you're in Africa, to you that's cold. So there's some anomalies in terms of temperature. Equally so, the parts that are normally very cold, like Alaska, for example, are going to experience 3 degrees difference in not colder. It could be colder, but what I was initially seeing is warmer, so warmer temperatures. So we might actually experience a lot more flooding because the warmer temperatures may affect things like ice and icebergs and the snow. Okay, they actually didn't show me that on the run. They're just showing it to me right now. So there might be some flooding going on. Okay, there might be some mudslides. Again, or all of this is not new to us, but I feel like we will be seeing a little bit more of that happening. Okay. Anything else? Whatever you are experiencing this year in 2024, try your best to be open-minded about it. Don't all of a sudden assume that just because something uncomfortable is happening, that it's bad. Because nothing is inherently good or bad from a higher perspective. Everything has its purpose. So anything quote unquote bad that we may be experiencing has its purpose. We are in this for a reason, and there's a good reason for it. We just often don't see it. Okay, we often do see it hindsight, but at the time of when it's happening, we may not see it. So for example, if we are seeing financial collapse, that could be a terrifying thing because, well, it's your money. It's where you put all your life savings. Like it's a thing. And that may be, that may make us feel a little bit uncomfortable, but we may assume that's, oh my God, that's bad, that's bad. Where in fact, what's happening is this has to happen so that we can reassert ourselves in terms of who we give control to over our money or over our information. So that quote unquote collapse is needed. But yes, when it's happening, it's not a comfortable thing. So be open-minded about what you are experiencing. Try not to label it as good or bad. Try to see it with more neutrality, which, again, if you have an earthquake going on, I'm not saying there will be, but if there's an earthquake going on and there's a whole bunch of people being killed or hurt, of course, your heart is going to go out. How could it not? Right? So some things are very difficult to organize in our heads by thinking, okay, there's a reason for it when there is a lot of pain. It's a very, very difficult thing to do. But do your best. Just do your best. Don't be perfect. Do your best. Because what happens is when we look at things as neither good nor bad, we are allowing the experience to be whatever it wants to be. And we experience our experience based on what we think about the experience. Remember that. Okay? If you think something is a bad experience, you will be experiencing it as a bad experience. On the other hand, if an experience has a higher purpose and you know that there is a higher purpose, you just don't know what it is, we are less likely to be in resistance to it. And resistance is often what hurts. When we resist, that's what hurts. When a dentist is pulling out your tooth, you want to resist because that's actually helpful. Because if you move too much, then the dentist can't do its job. That kind of resistance is good. So resistance is good and necessary. But there's no point trying to resist the experience of your tooth being pulled out. There's no point. It's happening. Okay? And if you're in the middle of your tooth being pulled out, well, I guess you could stop it, but you're there to have your tooth pulled out. See what I mean? I hope that makes sense. Also, when we are open in terms of what is happening, what we are experiencing, we are also open to a lot more possibilities to come to us. In other words, when we recognize that what is happening is the universe helping us experience life in a different way, even though it can be uncomfortable at times, it makes it a lot more digestible. Okay? And I don't know about you, but indigestion doesn't really feel good. So if something can make things a little bit more digestible, your nature will be just a little bit more at ease. And at ease is where we all want to be. We don't want to be stressed out. We want to be at ease. To be at ease means we have to be comfortable. To be comfortable often means we have to feel safe. We are now beginning to look after our own comfort and safety from inside out. And that's always what's most important. And then the universe will complement you with whatever that is for you. If you are afraid that you're not going to have money, you are putting your thoughts and efforts into not having money. That's what you will experience. That's what creation is. So whatever is happening that may not be to your liking, and I'm sure there will be, we're going to be uncomfortable, without a doubt. It's a good time to remind ourselves that this discomfort doesn't mean that it's something necessarily bad. It just means we're going through massive shift. And shift, as it implies, is in its very essence something that's often uncomfortable. don't let the discomfort tells you that it's something bad. Because in fact, from a higher perspective, what's happening is beautiful. No, I'm not saying that people getting killed in war is beautiful. Absolutely not. But from a much, much, much higher perspective, from the soul, it's absolutely beautiful that a soul would choose to go through this horrific experience in order so that rest of humanity could have compassion or could learn how to love. That to me is freaking beautiful. On a human level, it sucks. Okay? So being able to hold these two perspectives sometimes can be very helpful. It's not easy, but it is very helpful. And not everyone can do that. And that's okay. If you can do it, then you do it because it makes your life different. It makes your life better. And when your life is better, other people come to you and say, hi, can you help me make my life better? I want my life to be like yours. And then you get to share with them your tools, how you arrived at this awareness. And before you know it, more people begin to wake up. But it starts with you. It starts with you and I. It starts with each and every individual. Okay? So that's what I have in terms of the general collective. And I'm going to take you through a sneak peek of the 2024 survival guides. So you can tune into your sun sign, moon sign, rising sign. And actually what I found very helpful to listening to my north node sign. And I found it for me very, very, very accurate. And in my understanding, your north node is tied to your karma and it shows you the direction you're going. So again, made so much sense to me. Again, you'll get at least 50% off for the next few days from the 2024 Zodiac survival guides. There's a promo code and a link down there. All you have to do is just put in the promo code once you go to the website, and it's about, the bundle is over 13 hours worth of channeling. Took me about 4 months to do it. And if you do get the bundle, you also get a bonus an hour of Aries. Somehow I recorded it twice. It's almost identical, but it has certain deviations. And when I was recording it the second time, I didn't realize I already recorded it. So I always say, okay, happened for a reason. Maybe it was just to literally confirm what's going on. So if you're an Aries, have fun with that. And I wish you happy 2024. I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Bye-bye for now. In 2024, you have an opportunity to break some pretty long-standing patterns. We can also say that in 2024, you are likely to let go of a lot of your karma, okay? Breaking old systems, your internal systems. I just heard you're no longer the person you used to be. Stop doing things the old way. It doesn't work anymore. Now, all of this is leading you to a very, very, very powerful place, a very powerful space, because what you are going through, or what you will be going through, the journey, and essentially it's a journey of evolution, you will be the speaker about. You will speak to that which you will be going through at some point down the road. Okay? It feels like within the next 2 years, actually. Energy. So this is what you are walking away from. Unhealthy and or toxic relationships. Low vibrating dynamics within relationships. Is going to be a year of profound changes for you. The kind of changes that when you look back, you can't believe what you did or what you went through. And you came out of it more than okay. You have this encouragement energy, and it's very magnetic. So that also tells me that you will start to magnetize certain people to yourself who desire to be near your energy. Public speaking is on the horizon. You are here to express yourself, and for many of you is through public speaking, through speaking in groups, smaller groups, larger groups. if you identify with that on some level, right now, it scares you. In fact, for some of you, it terrifies you. That's when you know that you're here to conquer that. And I did say at the very beginning, you are going through a shift of paradigm, which is massive. Okay, transformation is a big thing, but it's especially going to serve you when you are sharing your gifts with others. There's likely a career change for you in the next year to 2.5 years if you're Aries. You're not going to be necessarily focusing on healing. You'll be paying more attention to what you are letting go of. That you are in a powerful position, or you're feeling very powerful about being on a mission. It's all of a sudden you realize what your mission is. So I could say that at the end of this journey, year and a half, you're going to stand in front of yourself and look in the mirror, and you're going to say, I'm proud of who I am and what I do. Well, you may not have that feeling about you right now. So in order for you to say that to yourself and to believe it, to actually embody that, there has to be substantial work that has been done in order to arrive at that. Behind you, you're a pioneer. In whatever it is that you do, you're a pioneer. Your job is to anchor light codes through your physical vessel, through your physical body, deep into Mother's Earth. Okay? You are a spiritual leader of some sort. Again, the whole rulership and leadership thing coming up. It does not mean that you have to stand on a podium and yell things out for everyone to hear through a microphone. No. You could be the kind of a spiritual leader that has a soft voice, or that is a painter or a drawer, or writes stories that communicates certain truths, and these truths are interwoven to everyday language. The significance of who you are and what you contribute into this world is great. Okay? Don't assume just because someone is on a podium and holds a title of guru is somehow more than you. They may just have more conscious awareness. I feel you are moving more to this conscious awareness, so you can be the healer, the leader, the pioneer of whatever area. Generally speaking, it will be for the betterment of this world. I feel this is a strong year for you. Well, in so many ways, I just got public speaking, so some of you will resonate with public speaking, or public speaking is going to find you. When I say public speaking, I also am referring to YouTube and the podcast and things like that, okay, where you speak out in public or public can hear you, okay? Which means you must have a very strong voice. There's power in your voice. You can be a quiet person, but you can have this power in your voice. It's also a year of expansion, okay? Going back to the movement idea, I am seeing collaborations where there is money involved. So some of you will be involved in collaborations or an exchange of some sort, and there is a money exchange in that. There's healthy money. So some of you will be experiencing new relationships, collaborations, and that is going to somehow feed you financially. Your sense of importance is changing. But again, it's not the ego importance, it's the realization of just how powerful you are. There is a recognition that with where you're going as a trajectory, there are some things and some people that will not go with you. They'll have to remain in quote unquote your past. There's all these opportunities that all of a sudden become available to you because you're realizing that you have choices, that you have ways of getting things you dreamed of but haven't been able to thus far. So it's a year of a lot of choosing, I see. This is almost a complete 180. So whoever you are, and I have a Libra rising. Libra is all about the intellect. Okay. What are the roots of your resistance? That's going to be very important for you to tackle 2024. Why? Because you are stuck in something old. You are stuck. I want to say job. Yes. So you might be stuck in an old job and something might be presenting itself to you, but because you're not sure of yourself, you're not sure if you should take it or if you could, or if you will be able to make it work. You're going to look back and you're going to say, I did not expect that to happen this year, but I'm glad it did. Okay. I am supposed to tell you this. It's really important. Your job, if you will, on a soul level, is to help people wake up. That's your quote-unquote job on a soul level. But in order to help people wake up, you yourself have to be awake enough to help them wake up. This is an opportunity for you to redefine what you do and how you do it. And it is in that moment when you realize just how much power you gave away. And you are choosing to take it back and use it for your own creation. It's you're becoming a much stronger manifester. So this is a huge year for you, potentially a huge year in terms of your own understanding of yourself and what you can do within this physical body. And wake up. This is a huge wake-up call. It's a big wake up for you. But remember, your job, if you will, is to help people wake up. And in order for you to be of help to them, you have to be awake. So this is an awakening process on a whole different level. Become a person who draws more finances, more prosperity to you. It's absolutely doable in 2024. Not only is it doable to draw more finances to you, it's doable it's doable the knowing how you don't draw it to you right now. It's like you're an emissary for humans to bring in light. There's a certain recognition with that. So you might be a very old soul. You might feel like a very old soul. There's a lot of openness that's happening in 2024. They're saying throughout life, your own evolution, you have been in many, many different bodies. Some of these quote-unquote bodies include species like the Pleiadians. So you likely resonate. Just because someone offers something to you doesn't mean you have to take it. You want to make sure that it aligns with who you are and what your truth is. So energetically speaking, this level of awareness can feel very overwhelming. Okay, so you might find yourself feeling tired. You might find yourself crying for no apparent reason. You might be standing in the middle of a street and saying, am I going crazy? Have I been here before? Remember, your job is to help people wake up. You cannot help them wake up if you are asleep. And if you are the one waking up first and everybody is asleep, you might look at your awakened state and go, that's weird. In fact, you will often feel that way. It's weird to know what you know when you realize others don't know it. You are saying no to the things that your ancestors couldn't say no to because, well, they just didn't have the tools, they didn't have the understanding, and you do. So this is shaping up to be a very, very big year for you, and also I hear a very prosperous year for you. So, I'm hoping that's going to be for every single one of you Aquarians, but prosperity is, I can see prosperity in front of you, and this is financial prosperity as well. You're not there yet, but I believe you're starting to see signs of prosperity, or your prosperity growing in 2024 moving forward. It is a big year of breaking patterns. In particularly, I see this within the first 6 months of 2024, actually first 3-4 months, where you are breaking some pretty substantial patterns that you relied on. For some of you, you will be breaking addictions, and that's a big one, because addictions, they do have a chemical component, of course, but for the most part, addictions stem from some unresolved, unhealed part of ourselves that we are holding on to. And our addictions are just a way of coping with that. So you are looking at your coping mechanisms, and you are recognizing that, for some of you, some of the coping mechanisms you have are not the best. You might surprise yourself this year, because there is a lot that is available to you in terms of abundance on many levels, especially emotional abundance. But you need to let go of a situation that the way I see it is you are putting a lot of effort to it, but you're not really getting anything from it. Now, what you're getting from it is this sense of safety and security, but it's a pretend sense of safety and security. It doesn't really feel as solid and secure as I would like to feel. So you're walking away from something that used to feel safe and secure to you, and now you're realizing that it's a false safety and security. I saw you formalizing contracts. You will have some contracts that you will be formalizing. And for some of you, these seem to be very big contracts. And you are very proud of yourself. So this is what's likely to transpire for you in 2024. The result of these big contracts is connected to you moving up. Okay, so this might be you moving up in a company, you moving up in social status, you moving up in a position within your career. You're moving up. If you don't believe that you have something to share, then you're not going to share it. Okay? And I am being asked to say that you are here because you have something important to share. Your experience is information. You have a lifetime worth of information, but you are here to share, whether it's to share information, whether it's to share your energy, whether it's to share your gifts. And yes, you have them. You're here to share. The problem is when you believe that you don't have anything to share, or that what you have to share will be met with disappointment, or that there is no one to share it with. Nonsense. 2024 is probably going to be a big year for you, substantial year for you, where you will look back and you'll go, wow, that year was a lot of work, but man, was it ever worth it. You, from what I can see, are here to lead. As a leader, you will have certain challenges handed to you, and you're going to have to effectively deal with these challenges. If you don't know how to deal with challenges, or if you are afraid of challenges, then again, going back to the leadership quality, that's not going to help you be a good leader. And you are here to be a good leader. Being a leader in a community, being out front, being seen, being courageous, having following. Like the permanence that I'm talking about for you, Cancerians, is the type of permanence where you finally feel like you can stand on your own 2 feet. You are strong in your mind and your body, and you are ready and willing to take life on. You're no longer a follower. You're no longer a victim. You are a leader of your own life. And that kind of permanence feels really, really good. You're here to bear fruit for the hard work that you have put in, especially financially. I could say that in 2024, you are learning how to trust yourself. To trust yourself pretty much means everything. Think about the idea of trusting yourself totally and completely, and not having doubts nearly as much as you have, because you begin to see more clearly what your triggers are to the things that you actually want. Because if this is showing up for you, that's what you are going to feel a lot more stable about your future. So the fears about your future won't bother you as much. Now, if you really think about it, the whole world, humanity per se, is one of its fears is fear of the future. It feels like for you, Capricorns, in 2024 and 2025, this is a year of no more pretending. no more wearing masks. And that is potentially very freeing, but also in many ways very uncomfortable, because if you are not used to people truly seeing you, then you are not used to showing up as someone who is vulnerable. And vulnerability is a very funny thing. Well, there's nothing funny about it, but it's a funny thing in terms that every single human has vulnerabilities, every single one. Yet many of us desperately hide or try to hide our vulnerabilities. Why? Because we're afraid of being judged. We are afraid of being compared. We are afraid of being ridiculed. There's many reasons why we do that. Most importantly, we are afraid because we're fearful we're going to get hurt. Shown to me is that this clarity is directly connected to you regaining confidence. Okay? For example, if you are used to being unsure of yourself, this transitional year of 2024 and 2025 is going to help you get back to your quote-unquote true self. They said it's an intense year. Doesn't mean bad, but it's an intense year. And it's a year of a lot of hard work, restructuring old foundations. And they said getting rid of problems. And I said, well, what does that mean? Well, it's also a year of cleanup. You are getting rid of problems, but you're not getting rid of problems. You are resolving the problems from within. And it's not so much that you don't know what your purpose is for some of you. It's that you are clarifying what your purpose is. It's as if to say that your purpose is becoming more clear to you. This year is about you allowing your light to shine more fully, where you begin to show your light a little bit more. Because it takes courage to show your light. It takes courage to fully show up and be yourself. That takes courage. It takes courage. You have courage. Without having courage, you wouldn't be where you're at right now. It feels like this is going to happen quite fast for you. There will be many, I want to say positive endings. These are the kinds of positive endings where you all of a sudden see a brand new beginning for yourself where you were not able or couldn't see it before. And that's very enlightening. I keep hearing the word celebratory. There's much to be celebrated for, which is again what I said earlier. Much to be celebrated for, much to be grateful for, but also much to be given from. What does that mean? You have a lot to give, a lot more than you have been giving of yourself, like a lot more. Moment, you have a choice what to do with that. You have a choice. If you have been abandoned or felt abandoned, and you developed a belief system that everyone will always abandon you, you in this moment can resolve, and likely will resolve, the idea around, the fear around you being abandoned. And you are, if you're watching this, you're here to grow. You're not here to be in status quo. So for you, Scorpios, a big part of this year is learning about relating, how you relate with others, how you give yourself to others, how you share yourself with others, and also how you hold back with others. How you hold back yourselves in terms of what you give, but also what you receive. Because when you hold yourself back, your ability to receive more is less and less because you're not open. You're not being fully open. So it's a year of giving and receiving, or more importantly, acknowledging how you give and receive. Reality as you see it is going to feel different. It's a year of regaining faith in yourself, faith in the world, faith in the universe to support you, and faith in others. With faith comes the word trust. It is a year of expanded trust for you, trust within yourself, trust towards yourself, whether you trust yourself or not and how much, and trust with other people. And they're saying to me that a lot of what we trust in terms of other is connected to the level of trust we have within ourselves. So if we don't trust ourselves, we're going to apparently have difficulty trusting others. And it's like you're putting a wrapper on that this year, and you're saying, no, I'm not going to hold myself back anymore. And you're choosing to be more free with yourself and with other people. There's a greater flow that's happening. Very powerful year. So be prepared for sudden changes. Again, I don't feel these are changes that will be impressed upon you or forced upon you. I feel this is going to be more an intuitive calling to move in a slightly different direction. Again, leader, position holder, someone who is holding a position. This message is for you. You have access to these secrets, okay? You are realizing that you have access to these secrets, and you want to, on some level, protect these secrets. And I'm asking why. And I heard last time it didn't turn out so good. So you likely have access to higher spiritual knowledge, higher frequency information, and you know how to access it. And in the past, when you were accessing it, or when you accessed it, it didn't turn out so good for you. So in this lifetime, it almost makes you scared to have access to this information. Nonetheless, access you have. You are repositioning yourself back to your true essence. And because of that, the path you are on might change. Not because the path is going to change, but because you're seeing a different path for yourself, a new path. And this path seems to be unexplored as of yet. However, it's only unexplored in this lifetime. It is actually a path you have walked down before in other timelines, in other lifetimes. The first word I get is teacher. The other word I get is leader. Life will present to you or will nudge you to move in a certain direction that, although it appears new, it also has this familiar essence. And I'm hearing the words, you are adequate. You are more than adequate with respect to your authority. So perhaps you don't think of yourself as a leader. Perhaps as a person of authority, you don't feel adequate. So if you feel inadequate, you will not think of yourself as an authority. But what they're saying here is that part of your job in this lifetime is to merge polarities. You're finding a lot more peace in 2024. And I'm like, yay. So if you have been experiencing non-peace, especially the last 2 years, you are experiencing bouts of greater peace. And these moments of peace last a little longer. It doesn't mean that you won't get anxious at times, but your anxious state seems to be relatively less frequent to the one that you are used to. For those of you who deal with ADHD specifically, I feel like your nerves have been on top of the scale, and I feel like your nerves are coming down. So your ADHD is also going to feel a lot different. Whether you've been diagnosed with ADHD or you are very high strung, where you have a lot of energy and it's unexpressed, that seems to be coming down in 2024. It's like you're cutting that cord, and that cord is let's say the words, attached to your past. It's attached to the idea of not being enough or not being good enough. Likely your income in 2024 is going to go up. For some of you, quite a bit up. For some of you, you are not used to getting so much attention. So this money uptick has to do with you being seen and you generating more income as a result of being seen. We try to cut cords with the situation, but it keeps appearing. And that's because if it keeps appearing that there's something still there. So in 2024, something may appear to you where you thought you cut cords with. It doesn't mean you haven't done any work. It doesn't mean you haven't done any meaningful work, healing. It just means something is still there for you to investigate. And again, it goes back to the basic equation of I'm not good enough. So you are likely to face something in 2024 that will trigger the not good enough feeling inside of you. Okay? Because it's a trigger, it means that there's a story. Investigate the story. What story are you still holding on to? So when you find yourself in this situation, know that you are on the threshold. You are literally shifting between the old and new. And sometime from now, once you are into this new path, you're going to look back and you're going to say, that was worth it. Wise, you are moving into this much greater expanded space of awareness that is the knowledge. Okay, so you are learning a lot about yourself in 2024. And remember, knowledge is freedom. I feel like there's so much ahead of you. And for many of you, it's 2024 is a year that's like your brand new beginning. I want to say you're starting over, but it's not the kind of over where everything collapsed and now you have to start over. No, it doesn't feel that way. It feels like you're starting over because you want to, because you desire to, because you've decided you can, and because you realize you now have choices, whereas before you felt you had none. And you are realizing that you are no longer going to be responsible for this baggage. In other words, a lot of your baggage doesn't even belong to you. You're having an aha moment. So you'll have some aha moments in 2024. And I don't know about you, but whenever I have an aha moment, it generally changes my life's direction. It suggests that there is a recognition of something that was not recognized before. And because of this recognition, we can take charge. We can take our power back. If you are relieving yourself or releasing yourself from a certain commitment, I'm asking, why are they releasing themselves from a certain commitment? For most of you, it's because you have outgrown this commitment. And for some of you, because it's been a burden on you, but you're choosing to no longer have this be your burden. You're no longer choosing to be burdened by this particular, okay? And for some of you, it has a lot to do with a mother figure. I feel that if this is connecting with you, I feel that your mother figure, or your mother, or whoever your mother figure was, she wasn't there for you emotionally. The way she cared for you did not make you feel emotionally stable, or you didn't feel, you didn't know what to expect from her, which was emotional volatility. You couldn't trust her. For whatever reasons, not because she wanted to be mean, but because perhaps she didn't know how to be any other way. And I feel that if this connects with you, when you look at that stuff, when you look at this healing or at healing that, you're going to see your mother in a different light. Not only will you be releasing her and helping her, whether she's in this world or in a different world, and you will also, most importantly, be releasing yourself from whatever was. And that's very freeing. Because of that, something new is going to transpire. There's a brand new beginning. There's a brand new opportunity. Now, this is a pentacle that's being showcased here. So there is a new beginning in terms of your physical reality. Yes, this can mean you are accepting a new job. You are increasing your value in terms of finances. You are bringing more money into your life, but it can also represent a new relationship because that's also physical. So something in your physical life is coming to an end in order for something brand new to take place. Is the fear of rejection. And all of a sudden, you allow yourself to be truly, fully, unequivocally you, just as you are, without any fears of rejections or abandonment. Can you imagine being in that space? Can you imagine being just because, not because you're afraid that something might happen or something that may not happen? That's called freedom. That's called emotional freedom. And you are heading towards that. I cannot begin to tell you how big this is. If you think about it, emotional freedom is everything. It's a big, big, big year for you. And I feel like 2023 was a preparatory year for 2024 and a little bit of 2025. Like I want to say 13 months. Complete new levels of discovery. Yeah, you are what you seek in our discovery. You are making new commitments to yourself, healthier commitments. Commitments that are not ruled by desperation and fear. You are also in a process of restructuring your life and trying on different things, trying on new things. You may realize you don't like what you do right now. You don't like what you do every day in your life. You may realize you don't like what you do for a living. Perhaps you've realized this long time ago, but now you are realizing life is too short to do something you don't enjoy. And you are bringing something new and different into your life. Fear. To be able to handle a power of a dragon, which are very powerful, powerful energies, we have to be balanced within our ego. Otherwise, I want to say like this dragon energy can take us over. Okay? You have a gift of touch, or work with energy, or you're a psychic or a medium reader or anything of that sort. I feel like you are coming out of your closet. And this coming out of your closet is going to help you generate income, more income. In 2024, you are learning how to cope differently with your emotions and how you can use emotions to literally know yourself. Yes, you arriving at this new level of awareness of who you really are. And that's a big deal. That is a big deal. This is a big learning year for you. Every year is a learning year, but particularly 2024 and 2025, half of 25, is a year of big learning for you. And I believe it's because you're revving up for something big down the road. I was shown your past and I was shown your future. And the space in between, past, future, and the space in between was shown to me as an elevation of skill. I feel that in 2024, you are learning what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And what doesn't work for you, you let it go. Whereas in the past, I feel that you would have adopted things that didn't work for you, but you just didn't know better. You just didn't know any different because they were passed on to you, serving you. Whatever you deem is no longer serving you, you're having an easier time letting it go. So as I'm saying this, and I'm having a conversation at the same time, I'm saying, and you're telling me that it's easier for them to let go of that, and the answer is yes, with the exclamation mark. Okay, you're feeling some turmoil. There is some situation that you will be undoubtedly dealing with that will potentially make you feel at odds. A couple things. Some of you letting go of medication that it was for anxiety and depression, or letting go of what is causing your anxiety and depression. I feel like it's more second than the first. You may be finding ways to deal better with what's going on inside of you so that you don't have to be on this medication again. Because you're elevating yourself, your level of quote-unquote depression and anxiety is going down. Human beings are coming down into this earth with a very big purpose and mission. You may actually have out-of-body experiences. You may have experiences where you feel like you're in a different world and you might be questioning your sanity, but there's an elevation of consciousness. You're very determined on seeing things a certain way, and there's no deviation. So there is this need to see things in a certain way and only a certain way. And I feel like the universe is saying, hey, wait, there are other ways, but you are resisting letting go of the way you need to see things. That's control. Okay. The result of that is that you might feel stuck. Things are not going your way. I'm trying to control it, but it's not going my way. Well, perhaps it's not going your way because you're trying to control it too much. You're closing a chapter on needing to be in so much of control of what's going to happen and how things are going to happen. And that is not to say that you are releasing all control. That would not be wise. But you are letting go of some of the control mechanism. And control always leads to one thing: safety. And you have mastered enough awareness in this lifetime in order to release yourself from this ancestral pattern. You're putting more devotion, interesting word, towards more risks, taking more risks in your life without trying to control too much. It's like you're coming out of slumber.